Jumbo, how you doing?
Good, chap. Good to see you.
Couple things. When you've got the depth on the offensive line, but then you go to Bortolini, his first start against Pittsburgh, which is a tough assignment. Then you throw Dalton in there. Does it force you to do anything, or do you just kind of say these guys are ready?
Yeah, we feel really good about the depth in that room. We got several young players that have really had a good first year, good rookie year. Getting used to the rigors of the NFL, going through training camp and all that stuff. Coach Tony Sperano does such a great job with them. They prepare so hard, and he prepares the whole group so hard. Those guys push each other. We feel good, sort of like about our depth and moving forward. That's obviously going to be an important part of our season, and a bunch of good young players in that room that we like.
Have you been through your career? Found have you had to use a guy for whatever injury and he just wasn't ready? Have you seen that? So maybe you more appreciate when these guys can step in and you sort of don't miss a beat.
Yeah, all. I guess I'm not old enough to say all manner of things I've seen in the NFL, but I've seen enough where, you have the guy who surprises you, you have the young player who surprises you in the positive manner, and the alternative over the years at different positions, and sometimes even just watching some of our opponents and seeing different teams how they handle things and how young players handle things. So the league always, it teaches you a lot about guys, and obviously we'll be learning a ton about all our guys as the year goes on because we're trying to push this thing forward. But yeah, we've seen all manner for sure.
Thanks, Jim Bob.
James.
Jim Bob, when it comes to Alec, obviously he's got some ridiculous numbers. It's funny looking at his stats because they're all over the place. But what do you think it says about him on the 50-50 balls to kind of bend the math in his favor, it seems like over time and time again?
Yeah, I've been doing a great job at those this year. Really all year, competing for those things. It goes way back to training camp. It really goes back to OTAs, right? We're all, you guys are writing the stories and we're answering the questions, and it's the same thing. Gosh, Alec Pierce sure is making a ton of those plays. He's taking a lot of pride in sort of working on that aspect of his game, and when the ball's in the air, making it his. Just sort of sometimes it's a little bit of a mindset where that ball's in the air and it's mine. I'm going to go get that thing. He's done such a great job for us. When the ball's in the air, I'll just speak for myself. I'm on that sideline. I see the ball get thrown, or I see the coverage sort of go down in the manner the coverage goes down, and the ball's in the air, and Alex down there. I feel really good. He's built a lot of confidence in myself. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but sure do think those QBs feel confident throwing the ball to him down the field. He's found a good way about himself, battling for those things this year, and that's a real positive for him, real positive for Coach Reggie Wayne, who's been working hard with him. But as we all know, in this league, you make enough of those plays, you start getting talked about a little bit more in these other buildings, and they start having a plan for you to try to make your life a little bit tougher. So that's the world we live in. That's the reality of making these big plays. Is your jersey number gets put a little bit higher on their watch list. So we hope he continues to compete for those things, and he's doing a good job getting open enough that some of them aren't 50-50s, but gosh, what a play he made on the sideline, right? The tip ball, that was so cool to see. And then he was able to sort of get on top of the defender the next route, and that one wasn't quite 50-50, but he's doing a great job for us. We're really pleased with him.
Joel.
Are you guys starting to see him? He kind of talked about this in the locker room the other day about, he pulls the coverage up and it opens stuff for people underneath him. Are you guys starting to see some of that these last couple of weeks with Pitt and Downs where people have to pay attention to 14?
Yeah, the NFL passing game, the more real threats you have in different manners, the better it is for us offensively, and the harder it is, I think, on defense, because they have to sort of pick. They're not exactly picking who they take away, although some teams will do that with like a pure double team. But they have to sort of pick what area of the pass game they're going to devote a few more resources to. And sometimes they make it harder on those deep balls, or certain defenses can really back up and sort of stay on top of the deep ball. But then that opens up a lot of that space in the intermediate part of the field, or even the shorter part of the field. That's a little bit of the cat and mouse game going on. So, to have those plays being made downfield, it does help everybody else, and vice versa, right? We hit enough of those intermediate plays. Now those defensive coordinators sort of start having to worry about adjusting to those. So in a perfect world, we're all sort of humming at all areas of the field, and all our guys are getting hot. And there's going to be certain weeks where certain guys get a few extra targets or a few less targets, and we're lucky enough to have several guys sort of in our passing game playing really good football right now. We'll keep working to attack defenses with them.
Bob?
Jim Bob, I wonder if you or Shane or Reggie Wayne has spoken to A.D. Mitchell about his apparent aversion to contact. I don't know how you look at it, but watching from upstairs, it looks like he has shied away from contact on a number of occasions.
Yeah, he's a young player who's sort of working through, running those routes, running really good routes, getting open a lot of times. He made some nice catches over the middle, but we're just sort of all working as an offense to make the most of every opportunity that we have. And you will obviously coach our guys along that way in all manner. I won't get into all the coaching points that we have, but as a young player who's working to improve, working to make the most of his opportunities, we'll keep looking to push and improve and sort of move that forward.
George?
Jim Bob, obviously been around some of the better receivers in this league over your career. Have you ever seen 28.3 yards per reception a month into the season?
I'm not good at remembering all the stats, but it is a big one, isn't it? He's made some huge plays for us. That's a great question. I can't say that I can remember it, but memory's getting a little worse every year. Every year I gotta stare at these all you intimidating faces on this Zoom call here, try to remember those things. But it's pretty cool the plays he's been making. Pretty cool how well he's working to help our team try to win these games, and hopefully that'll continue.
Kevin?
Jim Bob, I know Tennessee's made a lot of personnel changes defensively, and obviously the coordinator, a little history with Shane. What have you seen from them defensively that has made them so stout this season?
Yeah, really well-coached defense. Denard Wilson's doing a heck of a job down there. I've worked with several of their defensive coaches over the years, and I know how well those guys do their job and how well those guys prepare their players each week. It's a well-coached defense. They're playing aggressive. They're playing tough. They're playing physical. They're getting after opposing offenses and having a lot of success doing it. You can sort of sort their stats up and put them up there with just about anybody in the league. They're playing really, really good football down there in Nashville, Tennessee, and the challenge is real for us. We're going to sort of have to put together a really good week's work to make sure we're ready for this thing. See if we can't find a way to move the ball and score some points. But they've got really good players. They have a few different faces from last year, but that's all of us. That's all of us in this league. They kind of went out and got a few guys, but I see a team that's playing really hard, really well coached. They play aggressive, and like I said, right now they're playing really good defensive football. So be a good challenge for us this week.
Nate?
Hey, Jim Bob, just given how explosive Alec has been and kind of what you mentioned about how good he is at the 50-50 balls, is it worth maybe trying some of those earlier in the game, even when the defense is sitting in a shell? And is it worth just maybe trying to get some of that payoff on occasional plays rather than always kind of taking what they're giving you?
Yeah, every week is a little bit of a discussion along those lines of how good do we feel about some of our pass game scheme stuff where we can move the chain, stay on the field, have a successful drive, or maybe how much do we need to sort of roll the dice with a deep ball that might be covered? That's not an answer maybe that's the same each week. depending on sort of our opponent and how things are going, and sometimes even just what's going on out there with the weather or with the field or anything like that. So Alex playing really good ball. If a guy's making a lot of really good plays down the field, that can only help things everywhere. So there'll be a time and place where we do need to sort of throw one of those 50-50 balls up, but I don't think it's something you look to do. Maybe the first play of the game, throw up just a totally covered 50-50 ball, because we're trying to play good offense and stay on the field and sort of move the thing. But there's a time and a place for all that stuff. And shoot, he keeps making them. He'll keep pushing us towards a yes answer on that.
Then we'll do our last two from Chap and then Bob.
Yeah, Jim Bob, I can't believe we're 13 minutes into this, and I don't think you really talked about Richardson. Do you want to give any insight? I mean, you guys prepared for each of those guys, either he or Joe, or how are you approaching game week?
You talking about this game week or last game week?
Yeah, no, this game week. I mean, is it wait and see on AR?
Yeah, I'll stay out all the injury specifics as you knew I would, Chap. But we're preparing to beat the Titans, and lucky enough to have a couple quarterbacks that can really play good football when called upon. Injury questions I'm going to stay out of, but we prepare. We're looking at the defense. We're evaluating our guys, their guys, some of the coverage schemes, some of the fronts. It's our job. It's our profession. In this league, you have different injury question marks that pop up at almost every position, almost every week. So it becomes a big part of what we do as a staff, putting together our game plan. So
quick follow-up on that. Did anything Joe do in the game surprise you? I mean, you've seen him off-season training camp, or did you just this is what you expected, the precision?
Well, for sure, the 15-yard run he had surprised, I think, most of us, himself. Yeah, he took off there pretty good. No, he's done a really nice job of that particular defense, at least early in the game, did a pretty good job of keeping a top on certain concepts that we were trying to throw down the field. And sometimes as a quarterback, you have to take those check downs, and you don't always love doing it, but you just have to keep on doing it. And Joe did a good job of that. He's sort of shown the ability to find the open guy the vast majority of the time and sort of get him the ball. So Joe's played good football in this league a long time. So I wouldn't say I was surprised by much, but if you want to get me on the record, I will put the surprise on that 15-yard scamper. I'm going to call it a scamper that Joe had there to get loose on the one play, which was a big play. We needed it.
Thanks, Jim.
Last question from Bob.
Hey, Jim Bob, Gus has obviously been taking a lot of heat so far this year. I'm curious, as a friend, as a fellow coach, I'm sure every coach has gone through this at some point in their career. How do you help him navigate that? I know he's been in the league for a long time, but how can you help?
I don't really feel like that's an appropriate question for me to ask. I mean, around the building, we're all helping each other, or to answer, sorry. We're all helping each other in a lot of different ways. Gus has been around a long time. I'll keep any sort of conversation like that to myself in-house. So,
all right. Appreciate it.